Okay, you'll remember in my last video I was telling you that the city of Charlotte has moved in this general direction. This has always been the high-end area. And as development and new construction and housing moved down Providence Road towards Waxhaw, the area around here became very heavily developed. So as you go closer to 74, you get less and less expensive. So this is all relatively middle class, high end here, and middle class as you get closer to this highway over here. But as you move across the county line into Union County, which is this area right down here, you run into a little town called Wennington, Marvin, Waxhaw. There's another little town over here, Wesley Chapel, and Matthews straddles both sides. You'll hear a lot about those areas, and you'll probably see those as you're doing your research. Marvin is very upscale. There's some wonderful brand new schools in that area. It tends to go from homes in anywhere from the 200 to over $3, $4, $5 million homes. Weddington is a little bit smaller than Marvin and really nothing more than a wide spot in the road with a shopping district, but it does tend to be pretty nice houses. Property in this area can range anywhere from 200 again to over $1 million. And then Waxhaw is a little town which is the start of Highway 16. The railroad used to go through Waxhaw. It doesn't stop there anymore, but that's why Waxhaw was here. The homes in this area are a little bit more middle class. You're getting further away from the area. So these homes can go anywhere from 150 to, again, over 2 million. And the same pattern continues. As you go further away from this high-end core, you run into more middle class and you hit Indian Trail and Stallings in this area over here. Again, in the other direction, Marvin is high-end, but as you get closer and closer to the highway and then you start running into South Carolina, you're into a different market. To the north, there's a small town to the east, Mint Hill is on the east side of Charlotte. It has never really grown dramatically until recently because there was only one main road to get into Charlotte, and it could get crowded and backed up at traffic. And Mint Hill had some high, large lot zoning which prevented a lot of tract neighborhoods from coming into that area. Half acre and more are the standard for lots in this general vicinity, so it tended to be sort of out here by itself. Again, somewhat middle class because it was on the other side of 74. As you go up into Cabarrus County to the north, people tended to start moving out to Harrisburg and Concord because, as I said, the university was here, IBM was here, a lot of the tech companies are here, and then there's a lot of industry and employment centers all along these corridors. So people were looking for lower taxes and good schools, moved to Harrisburg. That was also the main draw that brought them to Weddington, Marvin, and Waxhaw. Another town is Concord, which is the county seat. It's also connected to a city above it called Kannapolis, and this was a mill village. Again, wasn't there because of Charlotte. It was there generally on its own. If you come around the other side of the county into the south side, you're in South Carolina right down here, and South Carolina does have low taxes. It has lower taxes than North Carolina. There's a little town right along the border called Fort Mill, and Fort Mill was a mill town. It was owned by Springs Industries. It was the classic case of the company-owned town. Springs Industry owned the mill that everybody worked in, they owned the stores, they owned everything, and they were very benevolent, and they took really good care of their workers and the people who lived in the city and the town. So they built recreation centers, they had great schools, they embellished the community to make it a place worth living. And so as people were looking to get out of the congestion and the industrial areas, they started crossing over the line, finding low taxes and good schools, and close to Lake Wylie. This area began to boom with a vengeance. And that's in York County. There's another county below here called Lancaster County, and Lancaster County is beginning to see the overrun from Fort Mill because it also has the lower taxes. There's also a big area right in here called Ballantyne, which is another area you're going to see in your research. And Ballantyne is a region more than a neighborhood. There's a lot of neighborhoods there. There's a country club, golf course, lovely high-end restaurants and shopping, and it's very new and clean, and people love to live in the Ballantyne area, but it is in Mecklenburg County, and so people who want to live close to that but want to escape the taxes and get into good school districts are going here along the border. Lake Wylie, Lake Mountain Island Lake, and Lake Norman are all formed by the Catawba River. Lake Norman is a very big lake. It's one of the largest man-made lakes in the country, 500 miles of shoreline. It's very deep. People who like sailboats and boating regattas, there's lots of boating that goes on up here. This would be the lake to look at. Mountain Island Lake is much smaller. It's where Charlotte gets its drinking water. There's a water treatment plant right in here. There's a lot of controls over what kind of development, what kind of boating can take place on this very small lake. But then as you come down the river and you come into Lake Wylie, you come into an area that is really a wide spot in the river. It's not the type of lake like Lake Norman. It does tend to get the runoff from the higher elevations, and so it hasn't developed as quickly. It's also, there's only one road that really comes into Charlotte from this region, Highway 49, and it can get backed up and congested during rush hour. So most of the development that's taken place has been taking place off the 77 corridor. There's a little town over here named Belmont and Mount Holly. Belmont used to be a very much a mill town. Mount Holly and Gastonia, this whole region over here was in textiles, furniture, and trucking. And of course we all know that textiles and furniture have gone overseas, and that hurt Gaston County a lot. They have since recovered, and now Belmont is one of the hottest areas that people are moving to who are coming here from other parts of the country. It has a very charming downtown that was renovated by some great planners that went to the University in North Carolina at Charlotte, and has a really nice, pretty, walkable downtown area. Mount Holly, this whole area up here, is still undiscovered country. Even though Highway 16 is four-laned up to 73, Highway 73, it still has not been developed. It's still kind of rural and country. Now there's another huge road that had a big effect on how Charlotte grew, and I'm going to talk about that more in my next video. Please visit me on my website, www.thecharlottehometeam.com, or you can call me directly at 704-451-0688.